Polaris Indy 500. I can't believe it ran. Well, that's it for now on this thing. Alrighty, today we're working on the 500 Polaris Indy 500. I couldn't get it running. I mean, it'd run after I cranked on it for a while, pulling, and then it'd run a little bit, and I'd ride it around, and it'd die, and I'd pull on it, and I'd tip it over, and it'd die. I've replaced fuel lines and everything, and I just pulled the carbs apart. Got them over here on the workbench thing. It might have been a float issue. There's some more lines I'm going to replace and clean them and put them back together, but everything really looked fine. And then I looked over here. I actually pulled on it a few times just to see if fuel would dump out of these lines, and nothing. And I found, I don't know if you can see that wet spot on that hose right there. That's the vacuum hose for the diaphragm pump. It's got a big old hole in it. So I hope that's the issue. I'm going to clean the carburetors and put them back on and replace that, and hopefully get this thing running so that I can putt around with the kids. And yeah, out at the races. We haven't done anything on the race sleds this week. They're going to ride them tomorrow. We just cleaned them up. They were covered in dirt from hauling them on the trailer. So got them cleaned up, and then ride them tomorrow, do some maintenance. Got one thing to fix on the green sled. The bearing on the sprocket side of the drive shaft is loose on there. So I'm going to see if it's the bearing that's loose or if the shaft is worn. And it's making the sprocket loose, which lets it kind of wobble back and forth, which is not good for the chain and sprocket. I do have a spare sprocket and spare chains, but no spare axle shaft, so I might have to find one of those. Almost got DQ'd on our first race for this season because we didn't have a tail flap on the 200. So I ran over to my work and grabbed a piece of rubber, some washers, and some rivets really fast, and got that put on there. It doesn't really do much, but it's on there and it passed as a tail flap. So I'm going to order a good one, or order one from Arctic Cat and get it put on there. Other than that, the 500 ran good. There's some stuff I need to get for it for this season. Scouts Black said ran really good this race. So one thing, I think we are going to get CNA Pro skis for the green one to help with darting, and yeah, go from there. We got some wiring to do on the black sled. I gotta get some sticky Velcro and Velcro the rev limiter in there, Velcro the Coso tack in there so it's not bouncing around. I want to get bulk frog skin filter stuff to put in all the openings on all these sleds. Let air in, but no snow and dirt and stuff. So try to do that and keep on racing, get some riding in this weekend hopefully. Alrighty, so that little hole in the hose, I'm going to confirm that that is the issue by wrapping some tape around it just to close that hole up, and to get this diaphragm pump to work. And if that does it, then I'm going to replace this hose, which I'm going to replace anyway, and I'll look at the diaphragm pump if it doesn't work. So So we're all clamped up. Now that should be good. Move over and look. Alrighty, we're gonna fix a couple things on these carburetors. Like a leaky hose for the ball on one of them, and then a yeah, that's pretty much it. Just a leaky hose. Put them back together. They weren't too terribly dirty. Heat gun. Oh yeah, there we go. That's how easy it should be. I don't have any carb cleaner, but these are kind of dirty on the outside. They're pretty clean on the inside of them. Right, assuming these are just like little water catches. Alrighty, so I got this thing running last night after the camera died. All I did is I replaced the vacuum line for the diaphragm pump, then changed a line on the bottom of one of the carburetors that plugs the bowl, put Corbin clamps on everything so I'm not leaking fuel anywhere, and then messed with the choke. The choke cables kept coming undone in like the little flipper switch, so I fixed that so they can't come out, and adjusted the choke cable. Thing runs good now. Still kind of hard to start, so I don't know why that is, but whatever, it starts and runs good. So now I'm going to put the airbox and everything back in. Well, that's it for now on this thing. Right, I didn't film a lot of it, but we got 500 going, I'm pretty sure. So I'll kind of go over what we did real quick. We, pulled the carburetors out, took them apart, looked in the inside, make sure the jets were cleared, did that. There was no water in the bowl. There were some dry rotted hoses on the bottom of these bowls where there's like a water catch. Changed those out. And then put them back in, put them together, found a vacuum leak on the hose that operates the diaphragm pump, changed that out, did that, then put it back together, ran great for like 2 hours, and then all of a sudden just bogging out and dying, and couldn't get it to stay running. So to get it home, I was full choking it the whole time, giving it more fuel. Got it home, could get like 200 yards at a time, which is kind of lame. I pulled on that thing probably 1,000 times to get it started every time. And then got it home, let it sit all night, just messing around, did a compression test, had 90 psi-ish in both cylinders. Then took it apart again. What did I do that time? Changed the spark plugs to new spark plugs, ran good for a minute, then bogged off and died. Then we took me and my father-in-law took the slides out and moved the needles down one so it's getting more fuel, and then took it out for a ride and rode good for like 3 laps on our track we got here, and then just bogged out and died again, jumping it and tipping it sideways and doing all that stuff. And so I parked it and let it sit, and then my next thing was to take apart the diaphragm pump, but I didn't even do that. I pulled the hose, siphoned all the fuel out of it, pulled the hose out of the fuel tank to check the pickup screen, and it was cleared. And then I checked the hose to the shut off, and there's nothing in it. And then I started to pull the fuel line that had the filter in it apart, and I just, for curiosity, I blew into it, and I couldn't blow through it. So I took the fuel shut off, I took it off and then blew through it off the fuel shut off, and it was fine. So then I took the fuel shut off and the thing was clogged full of plastic. And I just got back from taking it for a ride and it rode good. So here's all the plastic. I mean, that fuel shut off was completely clogged. I can't believe it ran sucking fuel through that as good as it did. So got that all done, and now it runs good. Now it's sitting here in the garage. So hopefully that was it. I'm going to take it for a few more rides here and there, and if it doesn't bog out and die, then maybe I'll take it out and go for a ride somewhere else with some buddies. But that's what I did on the 500.